GCSE pupils in England, Wales and Northern Ireland will receive their results tomorrow. On Monday, it was announced all results in England will now be based on teacher assessments after controversy over A-levels led to a big row about how grades should be awarded. The new system could mean further education establishments face an increase in admissions in the autumn. So how will they cope? And what will an A-level course look like in the new academic year? Well, hopefully to answer some of those questions, let's talk now to Peter Kennedy. He's the principal of Franklin Sixth Form College in Grimsby. Thank you for joining us here on BBC News and good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Rebecca. Pleasure to be here.
Great. Do you expect to have a large number of students eligible for your sixth form because of higher GCSE grades this year?
We do expect some uplift, and it's not just because of the higher GCSE. So we're conscious, as with A-levels, that teacher assessment will err on the side of generosity overall, and that will mean more students with GCSE grades that access level 3 A-level at sixth form colleges. But we also have, through COVID, a number of students that have had a difficult time and want to restart. And we also we were expecting something of a surge from students hoping to go into an apprenticeship that may no longer exist. And so we have a several-fold job to do to put a jigsaw together for students wanting to move on into further education, yes.
And will you be able to accept all of those who apply and want to study with you?
We think we will. Our estimates this year are that we will be able to cope, but probably only just. The big issue we've got is that we might in any other year grow class sizes slightly to cope with more students coming, or put an extra class on and recruit an extra teacher. But this year, obviously, COVID means we can't grow further than our building will allow us to safely operate. So there are some issues we're grappling with. We will work closely locally with our local authority, and some students are bound to move out, to lose out from this, because of course, where we might not be able to cope are the very late applicants, the ones that have changed their mind, the ones that are caught up in the GCSE issues, and in any other year would have said, gosh, I've done better than I thought, I'd like to go and go to the sixth form college, and we may not be able to accommodate those.
You say you'll be able to cope, but only just. So how are you preparing?
We're working through how our timetable works. So you mentioned at the start what an A-level will look like. In Franklin Sixth Form College, for the first 3 weeks, an A-level will be partly on site and partly remote. So we've blended approaches to learning that we're going to work through to see how the site operates with the number of students that we accommodate. We're hoping to move by the end of September into a fully on-site approach, bearing in mind what else might happen locally or nationally. And so A-level students, what is important to understand is we've come a long way in terms of remote learning through the lockdown period. We're very confident that provided we can get students in for some lessons that are on site, we can also support their learning in a blended and remote way. So we will be testing all of the systems that we've developed with GCSE students we engage with Year 11 and our current students to make sure that we can move them on. But it's not going to be easy, and in the absence of a dedicated package to support our capital expansion, we need a building now that's bigger that can accommodate students in, rather than having no access to a library because it becomes a teaching space, or no access to a gym because it becomes a teaching space. So we make use of every space we've got to spread out the load.
I want to ask you about one particular challenge, if I might. It can be a real jump, can't it, between GCSE and A-level? And I just wondered whether you were concerned in any way that some children who get really good grades at GCSE based on their teacher assessments might not necessarily be able to cope with their A-levels. What do you think about that?
That's absolutely true. And in any normal year, some young people will, for whatever reason, do better or worse than perhaps their inner ability would suggest they're capable of in terms of moving on to advanced level. We've spent a lot of time, all of our applicants we've engaged with since lockdown, so we do know more about this incoming cohort than we ever have done before. We've set them work and we've worked with them. The big issue is that young people always forget quite a lot over the summer when they do their GCSEs. The situation that many of them have been in of lockdown and remote learning and the way they've ended their school career really means that we've got a big job to do to bring them up to where they might have been in any other year. And of course, in all situations like this, the ones that need the most support are those that have had the least, have been at least able to engage. So those from households perhaps that are of less income, don't have spare rooms and private tutors and don't have broadband and all of those other things that have enabled some young people. So my bigger fear actually is a growing disparity between the young people that have been able to make good progress at the end of their GCSE year, who will catch up rather better, and those that for whatever reason we've not been able to engage with. And so we'll be putting a lot of effort into substantial extra work with them, albeit remotely. And as I said, it was a good year in essence to be much better at the remote and blended learning, because we feel we've got ways of supporting just that vulnerable group.
A busy few weeks ahead for you, I think. Peter Kennedy, Principal at Franklin Sixth Form College in Grimsby. Good to talk to you. Thank you.